Hello boys and girls, I'm back with another math video. This one is multiplication problem solving with estimation. So we're going to look at problems where you have to estimate first, and we did that in our last lesson, and then you solve it using clusters, and then you have to determine whether or not you have enough, whether it's more or less than what you need. I'll explain that a little more in detail. So here's the helper page. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see it a little better. Remember, you can just click the zoom button here. So every problem has a story problem. You don't have to write one. It's provided for you. Ward School has 1,000 students. Mr. Millie orders 52 boxes of pens. Each box has 25 pens. Will he have enough pens to give one to each student in the school? So the first part you have to do is write an estimate and explain your thinking. So the way we estimate is we round each factor to the nearest 10. So 52 boxes of pens, 52 rounds to 50. And the 25 can round to 20 or to 30. So we round up to 30. So my equation is 50 times 30 equals 1,500. That's my estimated answer. And explain my thinking, I rounded each number to the nearest 10. So that's the strategy. That's what you have to write in your explanation. How many pencils are there in the 22 boxes? So now we solve it. That should be 25 boxes. I apologize. So we multiply 52 times 25. And let me change this, and I'm just going to do that now. I apologize. 25. And then what I'll do is put that up here. And I will cross this number out. Okay, and then what I'll do is draw a box around this. And I will, there we go. That's better. Can't leave things with mistakes. Okay. So how many pencils are there in 25 boxes? So then we create our clusters, which you guys are familiar with. You multiply 50 times 20. That gives you 1,000. 50 times 5, which is equal to 250. 2 times 20 equals 40. And 2 times 5 is 10. And when you add that up, you get 1,300 pencils. The last part is how many more or less than 1,000 is that? So what they're basically asking you is compare the answer you got to the 1,000 that Mr. Millie needed. And when I compare the numbers, I can subtract them. And Mr. Millie has 300 more pencils than 1,000. So that's how I would answer that question. So each question has 3 parts. So let's try one together. All right, so Mr. Andrews needs to order 600 slices of pizza for his party. Each box holds 12 slices of pizza. Mr. Andrews orders 42 boxes of pizza. Did he order enough boxes of pizza? All right, well, I'm going to estimate my answer. So I'm going to use blue here. So you can do this with me while the video is playing, and you can stop it. So if I were to round 12, and sometimes this helps also. If I type my original equation here, 12 times 42 equals, then I estimate. Well, if I round to the nearest 10, what do I get? Well, my answer will be 10, because 12 rounds to 10. And when you round, remember, your numbers are going to end in 0. That's how you know when you've rounded to the nearest 10 or not. And 42 is closest to 40. So if I multiply 10 times 40, I get 400. And I would say, right here, I rounded both factors. To the nearest 10. And it appears that I didn't order enough because I need 600 and my estimate's 400. So now we solve the problem. How many slices of pizza are in 42 boxes? So I would use my original equation, 12 times 42. And then I make my clusters. So I'm going to use blue. So I would do 10 times 40 is equal to 400. And then I do 10 times, 2, which is equal to 20. Okay. And then I do 2 times 40, which is equal to 80. And then 2 times 2. Well, that's equal to 4. And then I add them up. I have 400 plus 20 plus 80 plus 4. Now I'm going to double check to make sure my answers are right. So I have 10 times 40 and 10 times 2 and 2 times 40 and 2 times 2. That looks right. So 400 plus 20 is 420. 420 plus 80 is 500. So my answer is 504 slices of pizza. That seems like that's going to be short. Yep, that's not 600. I'm in trouble. Didn't buy enough boxes there. And then the last part, and if this thing slides down, guys, just bring it up here. How many more or less is that? Well, it's going to be less. Well, how much less? I subtract 600 minus 504. And then you do the math on pieces of paper, but I can do this in my head. The answer is 96 less. It's 96 less. So that's how you solve all the 3 parts. There's 3 parts to each problem. There's the estimate. So I'll go back up so you can see that. First is the estimate and your explanation. Then you solve it with the clusters. And then you compare your answer to what you need. We needed 600, but we only have 504 slices. So that's how you do that. So you got 2 helper pages. So the directions are, on the next few slides, there's 4 additional problems on each page. There's 4 pages of problems. Read the story problem. That's important. Type and estimate and explain your strategy. Solve the problem using clusters. Compare what is needed to what you have. This is the part that asks if this is more or less. And for the last page, just solve using clusters. There isn't any, they're not asking you to estimate on that last page. But here's the first page. Lakeside School has 500 students. Principal orders 22 boxes. This is almost like the Mr. Mealy problem. So if you look at the Mr. Mealy problem, you can see it's almost set up the same way. Okay, let's go back up. This is the second page. Okay, Children's Park, Park City Children's Museum needs 1,000 pencils. The museum orders pencils in boxes of 48. Will there be enough pencils if the museum orders 25 boxes? You do your estimate, you solve it, and see if it's more or less than 1,000. Okay, this page, same thing, except you're dealing with 700 students, and they buy trays that come in boxes of 36. Will there be enough trays if there are 21 boxes? So you do the same 3 steps. And then the final page, you just solve it. Your problems about oranges, you just solve it just like you've done using the clusters. All right, if you have questions, reach out to me, and I will see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.